If you're curious about what's wrong with society, it is absolutely everything about this stop.
More times than not lately, they're saying, I know you. Do they think they're going to get out of the ticket then? Do they think you're going to be friends? Do they think they know you?
More often than not, people understand that if I'm stopping them, it's not for something that's BS. So they're being stopped for a legit reason, and they're probably going to be held accountable for that.
There was a guy on a motorcycle, I think, who'd been stopped 30 different times. He was like, dude, I'm going 0.2 of a mile. Why can't you leave me alone? I'm like, come on.
Yep, and that's it. 0.2. Got you. Almost made it.
This is Unshaken and Unafraid with Joe Pags.
Every time I go to social media, this guy's face pops up. This guy, walking up to a car and saying something that makes me laugh, makes me smile, makes me think. It is Officer Frank Sloup from the Pinal County, Deputy Frank Sloup, because you correct people a lot when they do that, of the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. Frank, how are you? Nice to meet you, man.
I'm great, man. Happy to be here.
We kind of know each other. We text each other a lot, but we haven't met. And I know that Sheriff Lamb, who's not the sheriff anymore, but our good friend, was going to come to San Antonio recently and was thinking about trying to bring you, but then something happened with the scheduling. Really glad that you took some time today. How are you?
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's great. It's another hot day in Arizona. So.
Yeah, a little bit cooler here in Texas today. It's been really, really hot, though. Those videos, you got to be kidding me. Now, here's something funny. And I think that we already talked about this. You're from West Islip, Long Island, right?
I graduated from East Islip High School.
East Islip. My grandfather built Captree Bowl and the Grand Union there. He came over from Italy. They were builders. Yeah, They built much of West Islip, much of Copeg,
Wait a second. Your grandfather is Italian?
Now get out of here. No way, right? Not a chance.
Get out of here.
Forget about it. So, we have this kinship already because we have that sort of attitude from that area. The attitude which is we know right from wrong, but then we say things like, I'm on the mountain of right, and you're in the valley of wrong, things like that. I love that. And what's funny is if you stopped me in Arizona, and I have driven through Pinal County, you didn't get me, but if you stopped me in Arizona, I think that I would just enjoy the interaction. Is that sort of your perspective when you walk up? Hey, you don't know really what you're going to face when you walk up, but it's almost as if you have this outlook that I'm going to make sure that it's a good interaction no matter what happens here.
The overwhelming majority of the time, that's exactly how it is. And it's funny because people from the East Coast pick up on that sense of humor. I still got a little bit of a New York accent, and obviously people from the East Coast on the West Coast have that same kinship. So I've run into a ton of people from Long Island, and a lot of times you could just hear by the accent and hey, where in New York are you from? Oh, I'm from here. Oh, I'm from here. And all of a sudden, whether it ends in a citation or a warning or whatever it is, we can still end amicably. We can part as people having mutual respect for each other, whether it's a citation or not.
How did this start? How did Fridays with Frank? By the way, it's fridayswithfrank.com. Go and get the gear. He's got the hat on. He's got the shirt on. It's looking good. Go and get this stuff. How did it start? Was it just, let's do a ride along and let's see what it looks like? Or was there a plan? Let's do Fridays with Frank.
Nope. It was, so it started with our public information office with the sheriff's office. So the PIO is responsible he's the voice of the sheriff. And the voice of the sheriff's office. So the public information office videos deputies all over the place, no matter what their specialty is, SWAT, canine, search and rescue, traffic, regular patrol deputies, whatever they happen to be doing, so that we can pretty much let our constituency know, hey, we're out here working for you. And these are the things that we're doing. So about right now, about 5 years ago, Arizona enacted a hands-free driving, no texting and driving law.
Right.
So the sheriff's office wanted to put out a more or less of a PSA to the public. Hey, we're out here. Here's the new law, and we're out here enforcing it. So at the time, I was in the traffic unit, and they wanted a member of the traffic unit to go out with the cameraman, which no one likes, by the way, in law enforcement, to have a cameraman with you. And at the time, I had 19 years on. I mean, I was kind of the old guy, and I was like, all right, I'll take him. I'll take the cameraman. And the cameraman happened to come from a background of TV media. So he was used to asking questions, kind of having the investigatory side of things. And we had a great time, had a good video. The public responded to it well. A couple weeks later, we did a back to school video, following school buses and, again, letting the public know, like, hey, we're out there keeping kids safe. And that's, it's part of the sheriff's office job. So we got good feedback from that. And then the cameraman went to the sheriff, at the time, Sheriff Lamb, and said, we need to make a video series with this guy. So Sheriff Lamb liked that idea, and then he came to me and said, "Hey, we want to do this." I said, "Absolutely not."
Wow. Let me stop you. Well, I thought you were going to say absolutely. Hold on. Now, first and foremost, if the thing jumps, is it Sam? Is it the same guy for the whole 5 years?
Yep.
All right, so he rides with you once. It's absolute gold. He says, "This is great." Sheriff Lamb, who's TV friendly, I met him through Live PD. So, Sheriff Lamb is down, and you say, "Nope." Why did you say no? What was it about it? Because you seem to be an open book in how you enforce the law. So I didn't see that to be a problem. What was the issue?
It's just, it's a pain having someone in your passenger seat. It's just, you got to move all your stuff out of there. It's, you're not. It's just it's a different flow. Now it's different now that I've gotten used to having someone in there. But in the beginning, I said, no, absolutely not. And then Sam said, well, Sheriff Lamb really likes it. So the next week, we started Fridays with Frank.
Because he was the boss, and he got to. Good. So in other words, you wanted your lunchbox in the passenger seat, not Sam. What's interesting is I would not have assumed that he was in the passenger seat. I thought he was in the back. He's not?
Nope. Front passenger seat, rides right next to me, and he's got a GoPro that goes out the window, so he gets violations through the windshield, and then he's got a handheld camera. So for the first about 3 years or so, it was Sam as the cameraman. Sam then took his boss's job, so Sam moved up, and now there's a new cameraman for about the last year and a half or so, 2 years.
It's Frank Sloup, and I think the sheriff said it's Sloup like soup. I know it's Sloup, right? It's definitely Frank Sloup. I think maybe he gives you a hard time about that. I don't know why he said that, but it was just the fact that you go and do that, and you said okay to it because there was pressure from the top. It's got to feel both good and problematic that everybody knows who you are now in Pinal County. I mean, there was one video I saw last night, because again, I don't stop watching the videos, Frank. There was one video where you're literally interacting with somebody who violated the law somehow, and a guy stops and says, "Can I take a selfie?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pulled up right behind me.
Does that happen everywhere you go? Can I take a selfie? And you're like, "I'm doing my job."
Every day. Yep. All the time. I mean, sometimes I'll have someone in handcuffs, standing there holding someone in handcuffs, just arrested them. They're going to jail, and someone will pull up or someone will walk up. "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" Like, I think people don't, because the internet has made this so popular that it's like they don't associate me with being a actual deputy sheriff, like putting hands on people, using force, arresting, booking, all of the things that it's like I'm a character for the sheriff's office. And,
well, what's interesting is I think they think you're YouTube. I think they think that, well, you're just out here making a video. No, I'm not. I'm actually doing my job, and there's a video sort of as a side action that's going on. But does that put you in a more precarious situation with the people that you're stopping? More times than not lately, they're saying, "I know you." Do they think they're going to get out of the ticket then? Do they think you're going to be friends? Do they think they know you? Because like somebody's driving 36 miles an hour over the speed limit. It's a criminal amount of speed, and his tint is too dark. And then he says, "I know you." Do they think they're going to get sort of special treatment because of that?
I don't know. It seems to be about 50-50. Half the time I stop people and they're like, "Hey, I know how this is going to go." And I'm like, "Yep, that's how it's going to go." And then because that's it. And then there's other people, that same thing, that they're like, "Frank, hey, hey, I watch you all the time. Hey, I'm like, "That's great." But that is on the non-work side. This is work. Yeah. It's great. You can watch me on YouTube and you can see what's going on. But, the fact of the matter is I'm still out here to do a job. The main purpose, my main function is to change driving behavior with the issuance of citations. That goes from my boss all the way up to Sheriff Teeple. Before him, Sheriff Lamb. So that is my job. And, and I think that more often than not, people understand that if I'm stopping them, it's not for something that's BS. So they're being stopped for a legit reason, and they're probably going to be held accountable for that.
FridaysWithFrank.com. Go there and get all your gear. It's Deputy Frank Sloup from Pinal County, Arizona. What's interesting is, and I was a little bit struck by this. I guess the school can call the sheriff's office and say, "People are really speeding through here a lot today." You guys come out, and there are these gigantic, like taller than you, 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs, and people still go through there at 30, 35 miles an hour. But had you not been there, you wouldn't have known that. So is it working in conjunction with schools where they say, "Let's call the sheriff's department, let's get somebody out here, these people have to slow down"?
A lot of times, yeah. School crossing guards are a big one. I've had calls come into the sheriff's office from parents of specific school zones that say, look, I was dropping, little Johnny or little Susie off for school and cars are blowing past me and it's obviously unsafe. Can you come out here and do some enforcement? And, obviously I'm a member of a bigger squad. There's 8 of us total in the traffic unit. And we go out and, along with school zones, I mean, there's more school zones than there are, deputies in the traffic unit. So we can't hit all of them all the time. But, we're getting out there and as one of our many duties, along with arresting people for impaired driving, for investigating collisions, we're out there, try to get there in the morning, pick a school zone and really be a overt, aspect of the sheriff's office where we're out there and people see other people being pulled over. They see people getting tickets and, it not only does it affect that person that we're stopping, but it affects everyone who's driving by who goes, man, I just saw that guy, get pulled over and he's definitely going to get a ticket. Tomorrow, when I drop my kid off, I need to make sure I'm going 15 and a 15. And so I think it helps on a lot of different ways. Keeps kids safe. It decreases accidents, or even close calls in school zones, along with everywhere else. Because, you see someone get pulled over, even later on that day, you're still thinking, wonder where that cop is now. Oh.
I think you're absolutely right. I think more presence definitely makes people abide by the law more. I mean, that's why the whole Chicago and D.C. and all this stuff, having more police is such a dumb argument. Of course, more police presence. Listen, don't tell anybody, Frank, I've got sports cars and I might have a heavy right foot. If I see you, I'm not going to go as fast as I might have gone had I not seen you. So I think the presence certainly is a deterrent. It's Deputy Frank Sloup. Go to FridaysWithFrank.com. Let's talk about specific interactions. I mentioned the other day on the show that I was going to have you on. And I went through my crew and I went through some people who called in, some people who emailed. And I wondered out loud, what was the most likely answer that I've seen you get, or the most common answer that I've seen you get on the side of the road? I'm going to say what I think it is. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. People walk up, you say license registration, and more times than not, and maybe it's because of the different interactions that you pick, they say, I don't have one. They have an ID. They'll say, I have an ID card. I've got a passport. And you'll say, no. I would like to see a license. And in one interaction you said, license doesn't sound like ID card because it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Is that the most common answer or not?
It's not the most common, but it is a common. I mean, I think the overwhelming majority of people have driver's licenses,
right?
But
we don't see a lot of them. I mean, on the videos.
Yeah. Remember that Sam is picking interactions that are interesting. There's nothing interesting when I walk up to a car and I say, hey, license, registration, current proof insurance, and here it comes out the window. Right. It's no one cares about that stop. So
right.
But yeah, on the ones on the video, that's one of the reasons that they're putting those out there is. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of people who are knowingly driving while their license is suspended, or never got a license, or some mix of those two, or have a license from a different country and they've been here and they've changed their citizenship and now they're still using a license from a different country. I mean, there's all sorts of different variations of that and all things that we need to deal with as law enforcement, especially here in Arizona in a border, very close to a border county in a border state.
Well, it is a border county if you consider that you're bordering the reservation that goes over the border. So, I mean, I get that. And then I said, and again, I was kind of wrong on that one, but then I said, for those who don't have licenses, most of them say, I was just going to drive for a short distance. Somebody was sick. I had to visit my mother. I had to bring some food to my wife. I'm going 0.2 of a mile. Can't you cut me a break? So you don't have a license. You don't even have an ID card, many of them. Many of them are suspended. But the reason always is it was just going to be for a short distance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's totally fine. It's in Arizona law. You're only driving just around the block. You don't need a license.
It's a short distance. That's no big deal. There was a guy on a motorcycle, I think, who had been stopped 30 different times. He was like, dude, I'm going 0.2 of a mile. Why can't you leave me alone? I'm like, come on.
Yep. And that's it. 0.2. Got you. Almost made it.
What is the there's got to be a critical mass point for you, a tipping point for you. I'm going to take this person in handcuffs or I'm not going to. Many times when it's criminal speed, you give them a break, you give them a civil citation, which is a major break. I hope they realize how big a break that is. But I have seen you put some in handcuffs. Is it 40 miles an hour of the speed limit? Is it the interaction with the person? Is it that you suspect there's something else going on? Is there a tipping point for you where you go, this guy is definitely going to go?
A lot of it has to do with the totality of everything.
Okay.
how blatantly the disregard is for public safety. Sometimes that equates to miles per hour over the speed limit. Sometimes it simply equates to the movement of the vehicle on the roadway. License status has a lot to do with it. Previous interactions have a lot. There's a lot of different variables that come in, and no two interactions are exactly the same. I booked a kid he passed me at 121 on a 2-lane road. Wow. And I looked in my rearview mirror. Sam was with me. And I looked in my rearview mirror. I said, hey, here he comes. And that guy blew past me like I was in reverse. And I figured it was that time. I was like, this guy needs, and he didn't seem like it was a big deal. It was just on his way home from work. So it was, not only was it, that speed in a road that is obviously not meant for those speeds. He was more than double the speed limit. But then again, it was just the disregard and the careless nature of being totally apathetic towards it. And I was like, you know what, you need to learn this lesson, and it can only be imprinted on you in one way. And that's by towing your car, being booked into jail, and having the entire process be brought to you so that you understand the severity of the nature of your offense.
So, like, if you stop the person going 121, he can get out of it, not get out of the ticket, but he can get out of being arrested and thrown in the back of the car if he's just like, dude, I didn't even realize it. I mean, I had no idea. I'm really sorry. I mean, if he at least showed some remorse or some understanding that what he did was really dumb, because I'm guessing somebody going 121 doesn't care about much.
Right. Yeah, young kid, just that generation of, he was in his early 20s and just didn't seem to care, didn't see and I think a lot of it comes from responding to so many very serious injury and fatal collisions where the major variable in that collision sequence is speed, and the energy that's brought into that just based on the physics of vehicles moving on the roadway really changes, the aspect of a collision sequence. So you start talking about stuff like that and seeing that and knowing that if someone pulls out in front of him at 120, everyone's dead. He's dead. The person he hits is dead. Everyone in their car is dead. Everyone's dead. So, it's just one of those things. And, and on the highway, maybe it's different. You're all going the same direction. There's no intersections. Maybe 121. Maybe you just get a criminal ticket. Again, how many vehicles are on the roadway? Are you splitting in between traffic? Are you driving on the curb? There's so many different variables in that. But yeah, there's probably some way. But 121 is kind of pushing it. I think you're going 121 anywhere. You're pretty much going to jail.
Well, Frank, how do you catch a guy like that? I mean, you got a fast car, but to catch 121 and you're at a standstill, you got to really go to get him.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why a lot of the vehicles in the traffic unit, and in traffic units all over the country, not just for the Pinal County Sheriff's Office, but traffic units everywhere drive fast cars. You look at Florida, they've got Corvettes, they've got Chargers like mine in Georgia and Arkansas. State police here in Arizona use Chargers and Camaros. So we're driving cars that are meant to travel in those speeds in excess of 100, 120, 130.
You guys are trained. I mean, you guys are trained. It's not like, you're some doofus kid.
Right. Oh, no, we're going through, I've been to Bondurant, which is a high-speed training facility here in Arizona. A lot of guys in my squad have. DPS which is our highway patrol. They go through a lot of high-speed training just because of the highway speeds that they travel. So, yeah, it's definitely not just Joe Blow citizen driving down the road.
It is Deputy, I almost said officer, I guess stop it. Deputy Frank Sloup. He is, of course, of the Pinal County, Arizona Sheriff's Department. The Fridays with Frank stuff is just, it's has it hit something and then gone crazy, or was it a steady rise the entire time? Because right now, you're literally everywhere. I see you doing videos where you're actually assessing body cam video of other officers, of other law enforcement, which I think is actually great. As you slowly drink the coffee, as somebody's like rolling around the ground acting like a doofus getting arrested. I think that's an extra variable that people want to hear your opinion on. But was it meteoric, like here it is, and then it goes nuts, or was it a steady rise from the beginning?
We've had some pretty good bumps that have really helped the sheriff's office increase in popularity. Some of it was just, we the sheriff's office partnered with Law and Crime Network. That increased our spread of viewers. We had some videos that have gone viral. As far as, the kid with the blue Mustang, the guy who was driving that Kia didn't want to give me his driver's license. So
Stop. Frank Sloup, stop it. Got to talk about Mustang Kid. All right, so let's go Mustang Kid. By the way, is it Fridays with Frank on every social, or is it Pinal County Sheriff? How do those find you who haven't found you yet?
So there's two different. There's a bifurcation of Fridays with Frank. There is the Pinal County Sheriff's Office, and that is the Fridays with Frank program is on there.
Okay.
On my private side, which is like right now, I'm not in uniform. Today's my day off, so I'm not representing the sheriff's office right now. I'm representing me. Yeah. The Frank of Fridays with Frank. So I have my own, like when I'm doing body worn camera review, behind the scenes of Fridays with Frank stuff, I do that on my own private personal YouTube channel, and that's just Frank Sloup. So Frank Sloup, SLOUP, on Facebook and on YouTube, and then frank.sloup.official on TikTok and on Instagram. So I had to split. I couldn't get the same everywhere. So I
got you. No, absolutely. And go follow Frank wherever. There are some that are misspelling the name, the word county. Yep. It's like Pinal Country with an AU or something. Don't do those. If you start seeing Frank pop up, then find him and go see the actual video. Let's talk about Blue Mustang Kid. Obviously driving like an ass. You pull him over, gets out. He's already freaking out, screams that you can't touch his car, screams that you're harassing him, and calls mommy. I don't know how that interaction started. Was he speeding? Is that what that was? And then he pulled into some sort of a convenience store or something? Tell us about that one, because that one stands out to anybody who's ever watched your videos.
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the most popular videos that there is. I was doing construction zone speed enforcement. There was big construction zone there. Cars weren't paying attention. There were workers present, so they're standing right on the side of the road, feet from where cars are going by. So we decided to do some very focused speed enforcement there, just in an attempt to be an overt presence, to be pulling people over, and to be there so that really to keep the workers safe. And kid goes by, tinted windshield. I think he was 56 and a 35. So great reason for stop, 21 over, and it's and then everything else gets caught on video.
So he jumps out. First of all, it's got to be disconcerting. You don't want somebody jumping out at a traffic stop because you don't know if he's got a gun. You don't know what the hell he's doing. So he jumps out and completely does the wrong thing immediately. Then calls mommy. Mom, he's harassing me. Which all you said was, "Why are you out of your car?" Or something like, "Get back in your car." And then I guess you touched his car. How dare you touch my car? So here's an entitled person, obviously, that has some issues. How does the interaction change knowing that going in? You already know that he hates you for no reason. You just caught him doing something stupid. And then the entitlement kicks in. How do you shift between that and maybe stopping me? I'm 59 years old. Frank, you got me. I was speeding, whatever. It's going to be a different interaction. How do you change that as you're walking up to the scene?
And a lot of it is just when you're there and you're seeing it unfold, reading the situation and seeing someone who's overtly aggressive, and initially is just default aggressive, ornery, non-compliant, argumentative. Right. Those are things that when you take into account, like, okay, well, I already know how this interaction is going to go, as opposed to stopping Joe, where, it's yes or no, sir. Yep, I got a lead foot in my sports car. I get it. The car's fast. I really like to drive fast. I'm really sorry that you caught me. Totally different interaction. And obviously I talk to you and I go, "Hey, where in New York are you from?" You go, "Hey, I'm from here." I go, "Hey, I'm from here." And we have a conversation.
Forget about it.
Don't worry about it. So and a lot of it's being able to throttle your assertiveness. Right. And and it's I am totally responsive to what I get from the car. And it's part of it's just having 24 years on and being able to read people in real time. And seeing that kid wanting to be very argumentative, no problem. It's not the first kid that I've dealt with that's argumentative, that's called his parents. Right. Certainly probably won't be the last, since I got a bunch of years left. And so a lot of it is just that, you can't get under my skin no matter what you say. So, he's just, it was. Well,
at one point he said something about something bad should happen to your daughter. It was all very strange. When mom and dad get involved, is it always bad? Is that always going to be an issue, or it's not?
No,
okay.
No. And it used to be where, in the early 2000s, it was never bad. It was always good. Parents would come, either, the junior would call parents, or parents would show up, or you'd take child home, after being placed under arrest for something, and you would have a very cordial conversation with the parents about, this is what Junior did. This is the totality of everything that happened. I'll let you, he got a ticket. I'll let you handle the rest of it.
Right.
Very different than now. Under that same circumstance, I'm now the bad guy. And, and it's, why did you talk to my son? Why did you talk to my daughter? Well, there were other people there. Why didn't everyone get arrested? Why did you pick them out? It ends up just being that all of a sudden I'm the bad guy somehow.
Frank, that's a big one, isn't it? Where the people will say, everybody was going 78. Everybody. And look, why'd you get me? Not the guy in front of you, the guy behind me. And in one interaction, you said, there was literally nobody in front of you. You were the leader of the pack going 78. So that's always going to, the whataboutism, why did you get me? Why don't you leave me alone thing? But let me put this out as a lesson. And I wonder if you would have let me go on this ticket. Let me set the scene. I'm in Saginaw, Michigan, probably 20 years ago. And I've got a Buick Grand National. Turbocharged intercooled Buick. It's about 40 degrees out, so the intercooler loves this cold air, right? Got my father-in-law in the passenger seat, and Frank, I nail it. I'm on a side road. I laid a patch of black on that road like you haven't seen. There's a cop just looking at me. I had no idea he was there. Pulls me over immediately. The guy walks up and I said, I am an AH. I said the whole word. I said, I'm stupid. Got my father-in-law in the car. I was trying to impress him. The air is cold. I'm a jerk. I can't tell you how sorry I am. He said, get out of here. He laughed so hard at me calling myself names and being self-deprecating that he just immediately said, dude, I get it. Don't do it anymore. I mean, have you had a situation where the guy or the gal made you laugh, made you feel good, or it was an interaction that was so cool that you didn't expect that you, would you have let me go had I said that had you walked up?
I mean,
I laid a patch, Frank.
I wouldn't have taken you to jail, put it that way. I was different when I was on patrol, right? When you're just a regular patrol deputy. I didn't write anywhere near as many tickets as I wrote right now because the focus of my job was different. As a patrol guy, I'm absolutely letting you go. I'm letting you go.
Well, that's who he was. He was like a city cop. He wasn't traffic enforcement. So,
Yeah, we're going to have a great conversation on the side of the road. You're going to leave knowing that I had the ability to take you to jail and didn't, only based on your interaction with me. And that's really what it is, and I tell people that all the time. Look, I would have taken you to jail, but you accept the responsibility. Right. You didn't try to make any excuses. You had all your stuff in order. Hey, right. I get it. So we also don't put very many warnings on the internet.
I hear you. My father-in-law said, really? You call yourself a name and you get out of a ticket? I said, I don't know. I was being an AH. That's what I was doing. It is Frank Sloup. Go to FridaysWithFrank.com, FridaysWithFrank.com. Get all the gear. Check out all the videos on all the social media sites. We know the most popular one is Mustang Kid, Blue Mustang Kid. What's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite?
I've got a bunch of favorites. I really do. My mom rode along with me.
Wow.
Mom's from Spanish Harlem.
I've not seen that one. I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of, so mom passed last year.
Sorry to hear that.
Before she passed, she did a ride with me. So it is one of my most favorite episodes because I have her there. I haven't watched it since she passed. It still hurts a little bit. Yeah. But I have it and it'll always be there and I'll always be able to see it. So that's one of my favorites. I stopped an illegal immigrant in last year or so who just gave me a fake ID or false name. Just had a wife who was crazy yelling at me.
Saw that one.
All sorts of
had like a wife and a daughter with him, right?
Yep. That was one of my favorites just because you got to see the full stop, arrest, taken to ICE. I took him to the Border Patrol substation. They one-rolled him, found a bunch of warrants, found his whole history. So that was kind of an interesting, especially in today's day and age, under the current, political theater that's going on right now. So it was the real life, what actually happens on the road when someone who's not a Fed stops someone who's here illegally. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Sheriff Lamb riding with me. Those were always fun because he's just a different kind of guy, man. He's bigger than life. I describe him all the time as walking among the rest of us humans, and he's just bigger. He's bigger than life. So I've got so many. I really do. I mean, so many of the great interactions that we've had. the camera catches people asking me for selfies after I write them tickets, or stopping in parking lots with people and they come up to me wanting a picture, and the great non enforcement contacts that I have with people just standing on the side of the road or pulled over in a parking lot. I have a very different set of contacts with people on a daily basis than your average traffic cop. And it's it gives me a little different. I have a different view of law enforcement and the internet. Who you look at cops dancing on TikTok and everyone's like, "Good grief, stop that!" But and then the sheriff's office is on TikTok and we're putting out stuff that's great, teaching the public about the sheriff's office and about how great we are, and all the things that we do to serve our community and all the great deputies that work there. And we use social media to do that. So there's the idiots of social media, and then there's, the stuff that we're doing. And obviously those aren't the same.
Why are you calling me an idiot on social media, Frank? It is Frank Sloup. He's Deputy Pinal County, Arizona. FridaysWithFrank.com, FridaysWithFrank.com. Go there and get it. What's interesting is there are some people who watch so many YouTube videos or TikToks or Instagrams that they really believe that they know better than you how the stop should go. And let me just set the scene, and I'm sure you've had many of these. You stop somebody speeding, on the phone while driving, whatever the hell's going on. You stop them for good reason. You've got reasonable suspicion. You're allowed to stop them. You walk up, and they say, "Tell me the reason for the stop." And you say, "License or registration, please." No. Tell me why you stopped me. You had no right. Why'd you pick me? And you'll repeat license and registration. They think you have to tell them what the reasonable suspicion was before you even identify them, which is just patently not true, right?
So in Arizona, that's not true. From what I understand, in California, they have to. But it's California.
Really?
They do all sorts. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It is. I believe it is the law there. And California's California.
Yes.
Take that for what it is.
Well, I think when you stop somebody from California, you have said, "Welcome to the United States of America." Once they're in Arizona.
To America. Yeah. This is America here.
So you've got to tell them, "I do this for a living. Give me your license and registration, or I'm going to take you out of the car," which you're allowed to do. And then the one guy, I guess this is very memorable for me, started videoing you. And once they start videoing you, they're a different person, aren't they, Frank?
100%. Yep. When they're like, "No, absolutely not. We're not going to do." Sure, sir. I would love to.
I gave you my license.
I don't know why you're being so aggressive with me. You are obviously the primary aggressor here, and I am so innocent. So that happens, and it was great that we had the sheriff's office out of it. And Arizona's a great state for that. And laws vary from state to state. In Arizona, it's great because we have the ability to, "Hey, give me your license." No. Awesome. You are now knowingly not obeying that direct order. You have a absolute requirement to provide evidence of identity when you're driving a car. And if you don't, it's a crime and I get to put my hands on you. That's it.
Yeah.
Arizona law is that statute is very small and it's very direct. So Arizona's a great state to be a cop because of laws like that give us the power to teach people the right way to do things as opposed to what they learned on YouTube University.
You're always very clear. You always say, "I'm going to put hands on you if you don't do what it is that I'm requesting that you do." Have you ever run into these sovereign citizen idiots? These people who say, "Frank, I'm not driving, I'm traveling. And the Constitution says I'm allowed to travel. And the Supreme Court says that you're wrong and I'm right. And you have to let me go." They have no license. They have no license plate. They have no registration, no insurance, because as travelers, they don't have to have that. Have you run into these people?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have them here.
What do you do with them?
Break their window, pull them out of the car. It just happened about 3 weeks ago or so. I was working with my partner, Sergeant Schmidlin, he's been on a bunch of videos. He was on I-10 and stopped someone. And he said, "Nope, I'm not going to give you anything. I'm traveling." He pulled that whole thing. And before I was only a couple miles away. Before I could get there, freeway speeds, they broke his window, opened up his car, drug him out, had him cuffed, and was already in the back of a cruiser by the time I got there. And he just couldn't believe that we were doing this. And we're all going to lose our jobs. So any day now, I'm going to be fired.
Yes, clearly.
So hopefully this YouTube thing takes off because I'm going to be unemployed because he said he's going to have my job. And I told him, "You don't want my job because then you'd have to deal with people like you." And I don't think that went over well with him. But
Well,
yeah,
what is that disconnect, do you think? I mean, did they really think they read somewhere that they don't have to have a license? And because you make this clear every time you stop somebody. Of course you have your rights, but driving isn't one of them. It's a privilege. So you've got to abide by everything that it says in the handbook. You've got to abide by everything all the requirements on the driver's license application. If you don't have one, then you're on the public roads and you're not allowed to be. What do you think the disconnect is? Back in old-timey days when they had like horse and wagon, you could drive anywhere, you could travel anywhere you wanted. It changes when you've got paid-for highways and responsibilities as a driver, a permitted driver.
That is my understanding. Is all of those court cases that they cite, and all of the it's this and it came from this law and from this court. Some of it's like maritime court, and I'm a commercial fisherman. Like I'm all about maritime everything, but not in Arizona. Like it's.
Well, I don't think driving the highway is a maritime activity, is it? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. But yeah, I think that they're watching videos, and as much as the internet is great for the spreading of great and truthful information, it is also great at spreading misinformation. And I think that they'll get into a video series of, hey, this is. These are your beliefs as a sovereign or as a person of Moorish beliefs, which is kind of a subsect of the sovereign citizen belief system.
Right.
And they have these beliefs that I can drive a car and I don't, and I get it. I don't want to look on April 15th. I don't want to give the government my money either. I get it. I 100% agree. And sheriff's offices are constitutionally mandated departments. We are a office because we are part of the Constitution. Arizona State Constitution says we have to have a sheriff's office. But when it comes to paying your taxes so that the roads are good and, when there's light poles and painted lines and medians and all the things that your tax dollars go to, you have to do that. And I think these people just don't want to, they don't want to comply. And when that happens in Pinal County, we teach them a different way of thinking.
FridaysWithFrank.com. FridaysWithFrank.com. It is Deputy Frank Sloup, the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. I don't want to get too deep and too heavy, but I do want to bring this up because I think you kind of alluded to it earlier. There is a different sensibility when it comes to interactions with police. I think that you're counteracting it very, very well and showing the other side of it. But there are some people who are brought up by their parents, by the community, to think that police are bad and they're looking to harm you. I think, and I want you to expand on this if you don't mind, but I think that what you're doing dispels so much of that because you're a regular dude from East Islip, Long Island, who likes to interact with people. You seem to like people a lot, or else you wouldn't do the job that you do, and you just want people to be safe and not get in trouble. I don't think it's a responsibility that you carry, but I think that you're doing it, whether you think about it or not, that you're changing that narrative. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And as I've described it, I'm like a friend in common now, especially here in Pinal County, where I think that normal citizens that wouldn't otherwise approach a deputy sheriff see someone wearing a Pinal County Sheriff's Office uniform or driving a Pinal County Sheriff's Office truck, and they know that person probably knows me, and they know me from the internet, so they'll go up to that, and they'll be having that friend in common bridges that gap.
That's cool.
And makes it easier to approach someone. And I get stories all the time about people who have gotten pulled over and, have had all their documents and said, hey, I learned this on Fridays with Frank. And then the law enforcement officer that stopped and goes, oh, I love Fridays with Frank.
Right.
So now, even in a whole nother state, in a whole different jurisdiction, there's a common ground there that now these two people that don't know each other in a scenario that could be somewhat, I don't know, it creates some anxiety or could be, somewhat stressful for someone, is less stressful because now there's this person in common that they both know. And that when those stories come to me, whether it's, on a comment on a video or in an email or something like that, I love seeing that. And I love it. I love it when law enforcement officers tell it to me. I love it when private citizens tell it to me, because it shows the good of what we're doing here, what the sheriff's office is doing, what I try to do on the private side, and all that. So it is, I describe it as the most humble experience of my life in the last 4 years, having this voice of law enforcement and being able to be, be an ambassador for law enforcement to contact the public, and so that the public understands a little bit more about what we're doing. And I think we can meet in the middle we want bad guys to go to jail. We want good people to feel safe. And I think that transcends no matter what your belief system is, Democrat, Republican, black, white, orange, purple, gray, whatever your belief system is. I think everyone wants good people to feel safe, and they want bad guys to go to jail so that good people feel safe. And I think that's really something that people get from my from my videos, and I think that kind of helps bridge that gap.
I think you're absolutely right. How long did it take for you to say, I really kind of like this now? Because, again, at first you didn't want to do it, and the sheriff said do it. Did it take weeks? Did it take months? Did it take a year? Did it take reaction from the outside going, hey, I like what you're doing? I mean, what was it that made you say, yeah, I kind of like this now. I think this is okay?
It was, I would say it was months to a year before really? I started getting feedback from people. I started getting recognized in a positive manner, and people would come up to me in a restaurant or come up to me when I'm pumping gas and go, oh my God, that's your car. Oh, hey, you're the guy. Hey, you're the guy on YouTube. And having these great conversations. And, like I said, I have contacts with people on a daily basis in uniform that I wouldn't have otherwise. So I'm unbelievably lucky and blessed to have had this. It kind of happened to me, I guess, to have this platform, and the perfect storm of having Sheriff Lamb, having Sam as the PIO who wanted to do it, having Sheriff Lamb who's willing to put stuff, out on the internet that some people might not like, being a little bit edgy, all of that, and having me. I mean, I guess I like to use my words in different ways. And I think all of that coming together between Sheriff Lamb and Sam and me, and the agency, and the time in the world where law enforcement, when this whole thing started, law enforcement was getting beat up pretty bad. And we put out something that's different, that showed like, hey, look, that someone somewhere did something bad, and now you're painting everyone with this really broad brush. Well, don't paint me with that brush, because I'm not that guy. And, I love it. I think that's really a big part of it.
I think that makes sense. I sent you a note the other day. I was watching one of your videos, and you said something like, I appreciate your attempt at an expansive vocabulary, something like that. I mean, the kid used the word, he said he's exhilarated, I think, and he didn't mean to say he was exhilarated, because that's a really happy time when you're really exhilarated. He was very unhappy with you pulling him over, but he said that. Do you ever, I mean, you're like me. We're from the same, we just say what comes to mind. But when you said that, I mean, were you thinking to yourself, that might have been a bit of a smack in the face? I mean, but the guy says, I'm so exhilarated. And you went, I think you said something like, I appreciate your attempt at an expression.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. And I'm telling you,
you couldn't not say it. Frank, you couldn't not say it. You had to say something because it just didn't fit.
I know. And it's, and just like you, sometimes it's like a slip and slide between my brain and my mouth. And sometimes I think something and it comes out and I'm like, that might have been a little edgy. And
made a great video though. It made a great video. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
it is, it's Frank Sloup, FridaysWithFrank.com. Last question, Frank. I appreciate all the time today. Last question's got to be this. Have you had an occasion where some doofus found it smart to speed on I-10 just to try to meet Frank?
Not on I-10, but on the surface streets. I have had.
They literally have done that just to meet you.
Yeah. How
does that go?
And then they leave with a ticket and a selfie usually, and that's the thing. It's. I'm telling you, you would not believe the amount of people who I write tickets to and then take pictures with. It is unbelievable. So, and they post them. I mean, they post them. So are you aware of this Facebook page, Find Frank?
No, no. They're like trying to find where you are to go and get a ticket?
To get a picture,
Wow.
So on Facebook, and I have nothing to do with this. This has nothing to do with Frank Sloup. It's a private citizen that owns the page. I've met her. She's a super nice lady. She doesn't want any sort of recognition. She just wanted to start a page for something that she thought was nice, but it's got over 40,000 followers on Facebook. And so go on Facebook, go to Find Frank. It's got a picture of a white Challenger, not exactly a Charger, but close. And so you go on there, and it's people take pictures with me, no matter where I am, on duty,
That's
off
funny.
duty, in the state, out of the state, and they'll post pictures on there. So you go through there, and you could see, I went to Chicago, I got caught there, New York, Florida, California, all over Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah, go check it out. It's fun. But that's
We will have to
where
check
that
that
goes.
You know, it's funny. Do you have to buy lunch anymore? I went to Pinal County. I had lunch with Sheriff Lamb and his wife, his beautiful wife, and we couldn't pay. They didn't let us pay. Somebody else either picked it up or the restaurant said, don't worry about it. Does that happen a lot to you now, too?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It on and off duty.
There's nothing wrong with that, Frank. Nothing wrong with that.
It's humbling that someone would take money that they have to pay taxes on, giving money that the government needs for whatever they need it for.
Right.
When they take that money and they spend it on my lunch. I mean, it is humbling every time it happens. I try to find whoever did it and really show how gracious I am for that to happen. But the citizens of Pinal County just love the sheriff's office, and it started with Sheriff Lamb. Sheriff Teeple is the same way. We have so much support from our community there that it happens. It happens. It's a great place to work.
It is Deputy Frank Sloup. So, Frank, they could find you two different places, Pinal County Sheriff's Office on socials, and also at Frank Sloup. Just your first and last name?
Yep, Frank Sloup on YouTube and Facebook, and then frank.sloup.official on TikTok and Instagram.
Very good. Frank, listen, I think we have met over, like, when I was interviewing Sheriff Lamb once. Haven't met in person yet. We've got to get together. I'll buy lunch. I won't let them pay for it for you. But I'd love to get together sometime. This has been amazing. I'm going to put in a bunch of different stops that you had as we were talking about them. I think people will enjoy that. And just keep up the great work. I know that the chief job in your mind, and you're doing it out there, keep people safe, have people live in peace and tranquility, and then this other stuff that goes along with it, I think is a really great educational thing for us, but I just enjoy the hell out of it. I'm doing my work late at night. I've got you over on the other monitor just stopping people and doing the interactions. I absolutely think that it's amazing. Keep up the great work.
Right on. Joe, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for having me on.
It's going to be 2XL, and I've got a really big head.
Got it. No problem.
For the hat and the shirt. Are we good?
I got it. No problem.
Frank, you're the best. We'll talk very soon. And listen, that's it for Unshaken and Unafraid with Joe Pags for this one. We're going to have another one drop very soon. Make sure you subscribe.